after at least 2 years of waiting, Ashes Creation, a highly anticipated MMORPG that's been lauded by creators including myself as basically kind of revolutionary, or sort of as a unicorn MMO that's kind of rolling all the good things about MMOs in just one product. Alpha 2 has been announced by Intrepid Studios, and I'm going to kind of go over what that means in this video, because a lot of people that are in my social circle have been waiting for Ashes Creation. A lot of people have been looking at other games, but never really got anything that's truly satisfying long term in terms of the MMO scene. So it's kind of basically, we're at this point where, okay, so the game has announced multiple things. When's it actually going to come out? We don't know. Beta 1 and Beta 2 haven't started yet. In fact, Alpha 2 is actually going to be starting October 25th, 2024. They finally announced the date. Technically, they did sort of a fib, because they said it would start in the third quarter of 2024, but this is actually quarter 4, if we have to be really nitpicky here. But anyway, Alpha 2 is basically going to be Ashes Creation's public test server for after launch, but right now it's just going to be a way for you to actually play the game. And I say play the game carefully, because it's not really playing the game or getting the full experience, because Alpha is typically, you know, for testing environments or testing. And usually alphas, especially for MMOs, aren't really for mass audiences, but it seems like they are marketing it as sort of like, hey, if you buy into Alpha 2, and I'll kind of go over that later, you can kind of get the experience, but also we do need your help testing it. So for those, there's been a lot of negativity actually, at least on the internet, in regards to the recent Alpha 2 announcement. A lot of people thought the Alpha 2 servers would be up all the time. There wouldn't be too many wipes. Of course, there'd be updates or patches to the Alpha 2 server, but the phases that they have announced have kind of irked some people. And I think a lot of people were expecting to already play the game, but it's not a finished game. It's not a finished product. So they even say this right here. We're in testing phase. Ashes Creation is not done. It's not meant to be viewed as done. It's meant to be tested and have critical feedback delivered. So if you're like a hardcore MMO player and you want like the MMO kind of feel back again in MMORPG, and you want to kind of provide your feedback to developers who seem to actually care a lot about what people really want to see in an MMORPG, from housing to raiding to PvP or open world elements, then yeah, this is something you could consider. And we'll kind of also go over what's expected in these phases. So October 25th, that'll be when phase 1 starts, and these are only Friday to Sunday time frames for when the game or game server is actually up. They want to test scalability, stability, performance progression. I'm pretty sure most of that focus will definitely be on the stability of the servers, because they want to do pretty neat stuff with server meshing and other things. And phase 2 will actually start on December 20th. So the second phase, which will be, I think, a big bulk of the Alpha 2 testing for Ashes of Creation, will have a 5+ day availability, so almost a week. Even then, though, it will have downtime 2 days out of the week, maybe at most. And the test goals are node advancement, which is basically where players can claim nodes or plots of land to kind of grow and actually build themselves into a village and a city, and then maybe an empire, depending on your ambitions. Economy testing and vassaling. Phase 3 will start May 1st next year, 2021. This is going to be a very long alpha, and at that point it'll be up 24/7, and they want to test, you know, basically future patches, future content additions, future content and features. They have a more detailed kind of timeline here or outline here, where it's basically in phase 1 you can expect the world to have 55+ square kilometers of the western and eastern riverlands. There's a bunch of biomes here. We have 4 seasons. We have dynamic world populations. We have dynamic reward tables. There's a 1 grand dungeon and what's called 4 pocket dungeons. There will be 5 node locations up until node level 3, with some systems from level 4. Dynamic road leveling. Apparently you can work on roads in the game for your guild or for other players. 4 service building plots, 5 default buildings, 8 active constructed buildings, 5 passive constructed buildings, node currency, citizenship system, 56 tax categories, mayorship, which is a big system as well within the node system, 25+ player commodities, 24+ mayoral commission types, just more nodes, and 3 races will be available in the first phase: the Empyrean, Vec, and Kalar. Basically human, orc, and different kind of humanoid that you can kind of check out my video covering the races of Ashes Creation if you're interested. We have also only of the I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 archetypes, and then more archetypes added later, such as the rogue and I believe it was the mage or wizard. Okay, so, and we also do have weapons being released, and a lot of this seems to be coming out on the 25th of October up until December 20th. So there's a lot of content here already. I mean, they're even putting in the caravan system, which was the first thing that caught my attention with Ashes of Creation when I was still PvP in ESO. Gathering tools, surveying, fishing, hunting, processing, crafting. The crafting system in this game is going to be quite immense. And it's kind of intended that you can't do everything by yourself, which in my opinion is great. We also do have over 460 plus unique pieces of gear, Node War event, and 149 story-driven quests or commissions, 3 world bosses, and 75 unique enemy creatures. So there's a lot coming with Phase 1. For Phase 2, which is going to be in, after December 20th this year, they're going to add not as much, but they're going to add things like siege vehicles, gems and sockets, artisanship skill trees, animal husbandry breeding, which is going to be a thing, leaderboards, chat system functions, instanced housing, player shops. They'll be adding the rogue archetype, and they'll be adding 2 more racers, the Dunir or dwarves, and the Valoon, which I believe is a subtype race as well. We're also going to have node death, additional mural commissions, 2 new unique node layouts. We're going to have 2 new biomes as well in Phase 2, which is great. In Phase 3, this is the final phase of Alpha 2 before Beta 1 is approached, is going to have another archetype, summoner, and of course we're going to have secondary archetype specialization. I don't think we'll see that in Phase 1 or until Phase 3. And the final 4 races for Ashes of Creation will be added, along with 2 last biomes for the alpha test server. So there's a lot going on here. And of course, how do you get in? How do you get involved? This sounds great. This is an MMO everyone's been waiting for. So we have the first wave bundle, second wave bundle, and the third wave bundle. Now these prices do seem high. And I think a lot of us paid at least $250 to get into Alpha 2. Some people more, way back. So of course, these are cheaper prices, but at the same time, I think in a way, again, I think this is for people who just know what they're getting into. This is, again, not a game. This is just for testing, to kind of give your feedback and have a part in the shaping of the game. And there's more details here, and I will, of course, link the entire thing here in the video description, the website link where you can see all these pictures. But yeah, first wave bundle gets you Beta 1, Beta 2 access, along with Alpha 2 access on November 8th. So these will be different from the opening dates. But the second wave bundle will actually kind of conform to the December 20th schedule. Third wave will go to May 1st, 2025. And there was a lot of hubbub, and they just want to clarify in a Reddit post after their stream, which revealed these prices, and people were upset. And Steven, the director and the founder of Intrepid Studios, had all this to say. The cost behind alpha access accounts for server and CDN costs associated with live service product is basically covered by these key purchases. And while this is not a finished game, it will be a live service alpha that will be updating on a 6-week basis as we build out the rest of the game's content and features. You should not... this guy should be selling it. This guy should be a salesman here, but he actually doesn't want people to buy this unless you're serious. You should not consider purchasing testing access to Ashes. If your intent is to play a completed game, it'll be rough, buggy, and require dedicated players who are willing to be testers. We have our internal QA teams, along with externally contracted QA testers, that are testing Ashes right now, every day. I understand that this approach is not everyone's cup of tea, but this is the path we are taking because I believe it will yield a better finished product. So on one hand, yes, he is correct that player testing or hardcore player testing could definitely result in the shaping of a great game or a great product or a great MMO, or at least one great system in the MMO that we've been waiting for. Because if we look at the history of MMORPGs, a lot of the people who got really involved in the MMORPG game development tended to be hardcore players themselves who were recruited into the companies, or who, eventually got into game development themselves, and they understood, from times of like the older MMORPGs, what really incentivized people, what really got people going. And I can see why they would want this. I can see why Steven would want this. On the other hand, I also think the tremendous wait time for such an ambitious project will inevitably sow doubt amongst the player base, amongst the customer base. And Alpha 2, even if it's not really advertised as a sort of way to play the game, is going to be a way to kind of affirm a lot of people's belief or their patience for this game. So it kind of hits two birds with one stone from their perspective, and I am really looking forward to what they can come up with for Alpha 2 over here on Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3. And I'm especially looking forward to when they're going to announce Beta 1, because that's going to give an indication of a rough timeline, because typically after something like a Beta 1, it would be about maybe a year or year and a half going by previous MMOs in the past for Beta 2. And then, of course, after that, it's typically, depending on this MMO, it was maybe 7 months to about a year and 3 to 5 months for launch. So that's when we could get a rough estimate. But again, maybe who knows? Maybe we are all coping. Maybe we're all on hopium or copium, and it's never going to come out. But I figured I'd talk about this because, again, a lot of friends of mine who moved on from the games we played together in the past we're all going to rendezvous. So this is also a way to kind of say, hey, we're going to also have a Discord server. And just like the ESOU server that we built for The Elder Scrolls Online, we'll also bring our guilds into it. We're going to have a website, and it's going to be run by Fear Turbo as well. And we're going to have content creators come in. We'll also kind of have this as a neutral ground for like knowledge and learning things. So yeah, I'll also leave the Discord link in the description or comments down below if you want to join the server and discuss Ashes of Creation and just wait for it like the rest of us. Thanks for watching. I just want to talk about this, and I appreciate you guys watching. See you soon.